this is kind of the reason why I do live streams the way I do, is because I tend to stutter and I tend to stammer, and by doing a live stream like that, I can actually cut off the beginning of the video, and therefore nobody ever actually sees that part of the stuttering and the stammering and that kind of thing. But what I'm going to say is this: good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and this is my review of Star Trek the Motion Picture. Actually, I'm re-recording this from the live stream, and the main reason for that is because I actually forgot to actually tell you guys what I really thought of the movie, and by the time I remembered, it was way later in the live stream, and I was like, okay, I'll just re-record this thing and let you guys see it separately, mainly because I knew you guys didn't want to see that. I know you don't want to see the entire live stream just to see what I thought of Star Trek the Motion Picture, but I've got 5 pages of notes, as you can plainly see, and I'm going to go ahead and ask these questions and let you guys see this. Okay? So, the first question was, are we actually in an opera house? Are we in a place where we got this big old band playing all over the place? This is the very beginning of the movie. And by the way, if you are actually wanting to follow along on this, go ahead and take your DVD and put it in your DVD player and go ahead and start playing it. Or if you're running Roku, you can put on the Amazon channel or the Vudu channel, whichever one you have bought this movie from, and go ahead and run it that way. Okay? But the beginning of the movie is just one giant musical. And I'm like, okay, are we just listening to a bunch of musical instruments or what? And what I really didn't understand is why they didn't play at least a clip of the original theme song from the Star Trek movie, the Star Trek television series. I think they should have. Okay? Okay, now they never tell in the movie where it was that the Klingon ships actually encountered the V'ger cloud. Okay, what part of space were they in? They never exactly told us where they were at. Okay? Now, why were the Klingon ships actually trying to fly towards V'ger? They didn't exactly start off with an attack. I thought they should have. I mean, we should have seen an immediate attack, but anyway, they're starting to analyze this thing. They're like, why would you need to analyze it first? Why would you just go ahead? You're the kind of people who just attack on first sight. Attack it, you know. Alrighty. Why isn't V'ger immediately responding to the presence of the Klingon ships? Okay. And when the first torpedo is fired by the Klingons, why didn't V'ger immediately counterattack? It kind of waited a little bit before it attacked. Like, what? And why didn't the Klingons fire any phasers at V'ger? I'd like to know that. And then they turn their ships around in an evasive maneuver. I'm like, okay, how do you evade V'ger? V'ger's much bigger than you are. How are you going to evade that? I'd like to know that. I mean, it looked like the Klingons were retreating. That's ridiculous. Why is a guy in a spacesuit floating over Epsilon 9? I'd really like to know that. Why does Epsilon 9 have a sensor drone near Quad L14? Okay. And where is this L14? I'd like to know that. And how do they have an exterior visual? I'd like to know that. And why didn't these Klingon ships just suddenly go to warp when they found out that their weapons were useless against V'ger? If Vulcan has so many volcanoes, then how do they grow food? I mean, the crops should just burn up. I mean, definitely there'd be enough minerals in the ground to grow food, but it'd be too hot to grow it. And they'd almost need Genesis for that. And were the people of Vulcan all wearing fire retardant uniforms? Really? I mean, their clothes should have just immediately ignited with that much heat. And what sands? The whole planet is full of volcanoes. I mean, it's hot enough out there to turn all that sand into glass. And are you telling me that Spock is telepathic and can actually read the mind of a computer? Think about it. V'ger's not a living organism. It's V'ger. He's saying there's a consciousness, but it's like, okay, how? I'd like to know that one. And why is Starfleet why is Starfleet headquarters located in San Francisco? After all, the United States capital is in Washington, D.C. Why didn't they just leave Starfleet headquarters in Washington, D.C.? I'd like to know that. If Kirk is an admiral, why would he have to meet with another admiral? Wouldn't he want to meet with the president instead? Okay. Why aren't there any starships near that space station? I mean, there's none. They've left Earth pretty much defenseless. Okay? And that also means that there are no starships in intercept range of V'ger. Why? Why does the shuttlecraft move so slowly? I'd like to know that. Did Kirk really need to see the entire exterior of the ship? Honestly, he could have just done a simple flyby and he'd been done. Why is the spaceman floating so far away from the Enterprise? And did you see that panel full of light bulbs? Not one of them burnt out? Really? I don't believe that. And when Kirk and Mr. Scott flew past that panel full of light bulbs, why weren't they immediately blinded? Oh my gosh, I can't see anymore. Give me a break. Why did the space guy float past the back entrance of the Enterprise? He's going straight down like this. Why? And the Enterprise has a recreation deck? I'd love to know why. Why wasn't Captain Decker immediately informed? I mean, think about it. When Admiral Kirk was going to take over, the whole bridge crew knew about it. Why didn't Captain Decker? And then tell him right off the bat. How did the Epsilon 9 sensor drone get such a close-up shot of the Klingon ship? And they didn't know the basic composition of the cloud itself? I mean, there may have been stuff in the cloud that they may not have known, but come on, basic composition, they should have known that. And could someone translate for me the exact size of the cloud? Why would why would Epsilon 9 engage their deflectors, their shields, basically, if they already knew that when the Klingons did the same thing, it had no effect? I'd like to know that. And Epsilon 9, it didn't explode. That was pure electrical energy going all over the Epsilon 9 space station, and it didn't explode. Or better yet, why didn't the Klingon ships explode? All that electricity, are you kidding me? And didn't V'ger absorb the sensor drone too? Why would Uhura mention the race, the ethnic origin, I'll say it again. Why would Uhura mention the ethnic origin of Ilea? Why? Why would Ilea mention her oath of celibacy? I'd like to know that too. Why did the guy in the spacesuit wave when he knew no one could see him on the Enterprise? Give me a break. He's just standing there waving. Waving at who? Did he see somebody in the window? When Enterprise left space dock, did anyone see the smudges on the movie screen? When you're looking at the underside of the saucer section, didn't you see all those little smudges? Boy, that camera was dirty. Why did they close the engineering door? If they went to warp in Earth's atmosphere in Star Trek IV, why didn't they go to warp here? Now, the back of the saucer section, why is the back of the saucer section the impulse engines? Wouldn't they want to put it right next to the warp engines, or, have different, impulse engines all over the ship or whatever? I don't know. It took the USS Enterprise 1.8 hours from launch to arrive at Jupiter. Is that possible at warp 0.5? I'd like to know the calculations on that. Now, was Decker actually worried that if they did engage the warp engines and they actually worked, that the Enterprise might collide with something in the solar system? Maybe that's why he didn't want the engines engaged. And why were some of the people in engineering wearing helmets? Why did Sulu's headrest rise first before Ilya's? Did you guys see that? They fired more than one torpedoes, because he said fired the torpedoes, yet only one hit the asteroid. Where'd the other ones go? McCoy called Kirk captain instead of admiral. I know he's trying to insult the guy, but call him captain? What did Kirk do between the end of his 5-year mission and the beginning of the first Star Trek movie? What is a grade 1 priority? Why didn't the shuttle, the crew of the shuttle, why didn't the crew of the shuttle just tell the Enterprise that Spock was coming aboard? And how did Chekhov get to the bridge before Spock did? Shouldn't they have gone together? Spock doesn't know who the engineer of the Enterprise is. How could Spock not know? Starfleet told Spock everything they knew about the cloud, yet Spock didn't know about the object in the cloud. How is that possible? Why did Kirk's headrest rise? What were we supposed to be seeing? How does smashing the keyboard shut off the computer? I'd like to know that. If Ilya was copied so carefully and so meticulously, why did her voice stay mechanical? And where was her uniform? I'd like to know that too. Why is Ilya wearing heels? The console and the plaque above it are shiny. Both of them are. Then why didn't the crewman see Spock coming behind him? I'd like to know that. And Spock can mind meld with machines now? That's a new one. Why does the alien door open and close constantly? Why does V'ger's door open and close constantly? What's the point? And no electricity from the plasma energy... Okay, let me say that again. And no electricity from the plasma energy coil. None of that electricity actually hit Spock. I'd like to know that. How much oxygen did Spock's suit actually have? I mean, think about it. He had this jetpack that flew him in. He ditched the jetpack. Where's this oxygen coming from? I don't know. Now, Spock is sick in the sick bay. Okay? He has a sleeveless shirt, he is barefoot, and there's no blanket. Since when do sick bays don't have blankets? Chekhov clearly states that an oxygen gravity bubble is being set up by V'ger. Okay, so we know the place has gravity and oxygen. But what about the temperature? Man, those people could have frozen to death. Alright, I did all of this mainly because of another YouTube channel, and I'd like to tell you the name of that YouTube channel. It is called TriAngulum Audio Studios. I would highly recommend going over to their YouTube channel. I would like for you to watch their video on Star Trek the Motion Picture and watch all their other videos as well, because they kind of helped me with this. Some of the things I brought up in this particular video was also brought up in theirs. So I would like for you to go ahead and check out their YouTube channel, watch their videos, comment on their videos, rate their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like. And if you do go check out their channel, I would like for you to tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. Alright, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. One of the reasons why this video suddenly shut off and then turned back on is because I made a mistake not once, but twice. I forgot to tell you guys what I really thought of Star Trek the Motion Picture. And I did this in the live stream, and I did this over here on this particular video as well, so I'm going to tape this ending to tell you what I really thought of Star Trek the Motion Picture. Visually, it is very stunning. There is no question about it. Star Trek the Motion Picture is one of the most visually stunning films you will ever see in your entire life. However, it is extremely boring. I could have cared less about Captain Decker. I could have cared less about Lieutenant Ilia until the very end. I could have cared less about how Captain Kirk became Admiral Kirk and why he was on this wonderful Enterprise once again. I could have cared less about any of this. So, if you're wanting to watch a visually stunning movie, Star Trek the Motion Picture will just absolutely bedazzle you. But you're going to get bored really quick. The characters, you didn't care about them. There was a lot of stuff in the film that you just simply don't care about. I didn't really care about V'ger at all. And that little mystery in the end, you know, they solved the mystery in the end. I was so bored, I was like, oh, who cares who V'ger is? I could care less. I mean, it's a nice little mystery, but come on. Really? No. So, that's what I thought of Star Trek the Motion Picture. Thank you for continuing to watch. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.